Hi, everybody, and welcome to Evolve Love. I am your host, Amanda, and I am so happy that you have found this podcast. Are you looking for daily inspiration, motivation, and wisdom to help you begin your day feeling supported and uplifted with love? Well, you have come to the right place. This podcast is a space of encouragement where you can be held in your self-development because in order to evolve, you need love, and it begins here with you. Now, let's get into today's episode. Hi, everybody. Welcome to a brand new week with Evolve Love. Happy Monday. I hope you had a beautiful weekend. I hope that you are coming into this new week well rested, inspired, and ready to go. And if you are not, this is the perfect day to set the tone. This is the moon day energy. This is the day that we create our intention. We think about what it is that we want to carry forward with us in a new week. And this week, I still am working through thematically the learnings and findings that I experienced on my retreat week. So if you haven't been here and you're new to the podcast, I took a retreat week a couple weeks back now, which it actually feels a lot longer ago than that, but a couple weeks back, and this was an at-home retreat experience that I made for myself. And it was really empowering, truly, because it gave me this feeling that I can, at any time, decide to go within, to learn, to listen to the messages that are on my heart, to work with them, to act on instinct, truly so many things. And this week I was like, ooh, I got to go into this learning that I found because it was a pretty major one. And honestly, I think it is one that so many of us have experience with. So it felt very important for me to share about it. And so we're continuing here this week with my retreat learnings. So today, the moon sign is in Libra. I always form the podcast themes through the week with whatever the moon sign is on the given Monday, or at least so far, that's what I've done, and that's how it has worked out. But with the moon being in Libra, we have talked about in other podcast weeks as being a symbol and a sign of balance and harmony. But Libra is also a sign of beauty. Libra's home planet is Venus, just as Taurus is as well. And this planet Venus, and we talk about it on Fridays too with our Venus energy. But this planet, it's all about the beauty, the romance, the creativity, the artistry. It's so feminine. It is so truly like love energy. It is love energy. And what I wanted to connect this week's, theme with Libra is about being the best for you. Because the learning that I found was about where am I being for others first before being for self. And I know that kind of sounds like, I don't know, like it doesn't really make sense. But yeah, where am I being for others that I am not being for self? And basically, the question that we are asking is, where are you living your life for other people? And where are you living your life for yourself? This is not a selfish thing. This is not something to bring up that is selfish. It is something that is so truly important, because if you are listening to this podcast and you maybe feel that like you're extending your energy outward to others so much that you don't have any energy left for yourself, okay, there you are, living for others, not living for self. If you are a caretaker, a parent, if you are someone who works in a field where it really requires a lot of your energy to go out but not receive back, these are all instances where we are being for others but not being for self. And like I said, this is not a selfish question to bring up, because when we think about it, at the end of the day, this is your life. This is your life. And I've had many conversations with friends about this as well too, because I don't know if it's like the time of life that we're in or like the season or whatever it is, but sometimes we get so far from ourselves, we forget how to live for ourselves. And this podcast theme for the week is all going to be a reminder around that. And basically what this came to for me, like, how did I get to this point in retreat week? Like, why did this come up, right? Why did this come up in retreat week? Was I went back to my first yoga in-person experience in years. Okay. I have been to yoga classes before, of course, but it has been years since I have been in person to an experience being on the receiving end as a student. And what's tricky, and what a lot of you, as yoga instructors, Pilates instructors, anything, like if you're listening to this podcast and this is a part of the work that you do, a lot of the time you give the classes, but you don't necessarily take them. And so this was one of the first times I was back on the mat as a student in a very long time. And it was really beautiful. It was such an incredible experience. But my awareness is so queued up. It's pretty wild when it comes to my particular self. And during this class, my brain would not shut off to certain things that were happening. And so I wanted to share that here with you because maybe you've had similar experiences in life too. So something that I noticed was that I was in this yoga class, right? It was beautiful. It was on the lakeside beach. Oh my gosh, it was so beautiful. But during this whole experience, instead of taking in the nature that was around me, I was taking in the nature, don't worry. But there were other parts of it where going through the poses, I was really aiming for perfection. I could not get myself out of the mindset of where am I right now? It was how do I look right now? How does this look? I wanted also to please the teacher. This is an interesting thought that came up for myself during this because I remember this feeling as a student growing up in dance. I always wanted the teacher to feel praising me or whatever it is. I always wanted to please the teacher. I wanted to do right. I wanted to be just so. And I'm in this yoga class and I'm thinking to myself, why am I having this experience? And this has been coming up for me so much lately in so many different ways, but why am I so worried about making the teacher happy? She and the teacher too has no idea that this is how I'm feeling on the inside as a student in her class. I'm, working through the poses, working through the breath. And the whole time I'm thinking about am I doing this right for the teacher? That is such a crazy thought that came to my head. And I thought, why can't I just do this class for me? Regardless of the instruction, regardless of what is being asked, why can't I just be in that class and not think about those things? Why is it so hard to turn off? The other thing that was really hard to turn off too that I noticed was I'm so used to going and going and going that the stillness of the poses was so hard for me. I was like, okay, when are we going to switch to the pose? When are we going to switch? When are we going to switch? And it was I couldn't even be in the pose because I was thinking about the next thing. And this really showed me how much I needed it, how much I needed to slow down because I couldn't even be with the moment that was at hand. And so, thinking about all these things that came up, I also had this feeling, which was really interesting to me, that people in class were watching me. And I thought, no one is watching me. Everybody is so within their own zone, within all four walls of their mat. They were in their zone. So why did I feel that way? Why were these thoughts coming up? And I think that with, my dance background, it was so, not that it was critical, but that you're in a space where you're moving for hours and hours during the day in front of a mirror, and you want to do right. You want to do all the things right. And you want to feel yourself progressing. You want to show the teacher that you're progressing. You want to make it to the next level. And it was so crazy to me that as an adult, I still had these past programmings, I guess, or I don't know what you would call it, like past experiences that were influencing my current moment. And then I even noticed too, physically in my body, I felt like rigid in ways that, like, the only way that I knew how to describe it is like if you have like an elastic, like a rubber band, and it's dried out, like say it was left out for a while, and then you like picked it up and it's like dry and brittle. And that when you pull the elastic, instead of it having that flexibility, it starts to almost become brittle to the point where it could snap. This is how I felt in my body. And I was like, wow, this is weird, because I'm moving all the time. I am. And it just like gave me this notice and feeling that like I really do need to take care of my body. If it's feeling like it's brittle and going to crack, something's going on, right? Whether it is nourishment, whether it is movement, whether it is time, whether it is slowing down, my body at this point was screaming to me. And through this was one class experience, by the way. So like, can you imagine, like, it's an hour yoga class and all of these thoughts, feelings, and concepts flooded through my body, through my mind. And what was so crazy about it all is at the end of the class, I realized like all of this, wanting to please the teacher, wanting to do right by my body, wanting to be like going to the next thing instead of being in the stillness of the moment. It really made me realize how much that class experience I was doing for others versus for myself. And those others, they were not expecting that. They were not asking that of me. They were not like up there saying like, you need to do this class right. You need to do this experience right. Not at all. It was me that was putting on those expectations, nobody else. And the teacher was beautifully instructing us to like find our way in our own ways. And I still could not turn this tendency off. So if you are holding on to people-pleasing tendencies, if you are holding on to this notion of wanting to do right by others but not by self, this is the week for you. We are going to deep dive into this. We are going to go into this, and we are going to try to really get to the root of this. Like, why is this happening for us? And I do want to give you a positive outlook on this, because this experience happened now 3 weeks ago for me. And when this recording comes out, it will have been 4 weeks for me. Okay. So in this amount of time, I just want to let you know, like, spoiler alert ahead, 4 weeks ahead of the game, right? I had a beautiful growth from this. And I took a yoga class this morning, the same lakeside beach yoga. And I did not once have a thought about others during it, because I did the work to bring myself there. So if you're in the place right now where we are people pleasing, where we are feeling this need to be for others but not for self, I just want you to know that it is going to get better. You are going to come out on the other side of this for yourself, because I've saw it for me. And it took a few weeks for sure. But in today's class, there was never a moment that I thought of anybody else. I only thought about me. And it was so beautiful, so healing, and so self-related in a way that I felt like I was giving back to myself everything that it was that I did for others. So just as much as I gave out, I gave in. And it was a beautiful experience. So I'm really looking forward to diving deep into this week. I know it's deep for sure, but asking yourself in this Monday with this reflective and intention energy, this contemplation energy of our moon day, where are you still people pleasing? Where are you being for others, but not being for self? And we are going to really work through this together And I'm so excited to be there on this journey with you because I'm right there with you. But also, if you're looking for further support, please maybe consider joining the Evolve Love Space, which is a free Facebook group for support and encouragement on your soul's evolvement. And there's daily check-ins there. There's little card pull pep talks and more. I'm really just starting this space, so I am still looking forward to seeing how it will grow. And of course, make sure to follow us on the podcast platform of choice so that you can get notifications when new episodes air. Follow us on Instagram @_evolve love. And I'm so grateful to you for being here and being a part of this journey. And I'm so proud too that you're here on this journey, because this work is not easy, but it is so fulfilling. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your Monday, and I will check back with you tomorrow.